Yeah, so background property would be there. So if you want, we can write individual things and fonts related things. Pseudo classes and pseudo. Okay, pseudo elements. So these are the things individually. And then we have to discuss about individual properties like box model related things. Okay, border, margin, padding, all those things. So these are the basic things. These are enough. And now if you want to hide the data, so opacity, so visibility, display, display column none, actually visibility hidden and visibility visible would be there. So these things. So, and individually also we have to provide. So then we have to provide the, so rounded corners. Okay. So linear gradient. So radial gradient also there, but not required. So we should not use in real time that radial maximum. So text shadow and max shadow and box shadow. Okay. So and multi-call layout would be there. So these are the maximum we will use. So in real time. So remaining things at the time of grid we will cover, and few more things we will cover at the time of bootstrap. Okay, so at the time of bootstrap grid system, so we can cover like CSS media queries, how can we do the responsive web design. So because if you discuss here, then little bit difficult to understand at the time of bootstrap, because we will discuss CSS, then we will discuss about JavaScript, then we will discuss about bootstrap. So that is the reason. So before discussion of bootstrap, then we will discuss about a couple of CSS properties. Okay, so along with we will discuss about bootstrap related classes, attributes, and everything. Okay, so in these topics, I think you have already told me. So these two topics, so you don't know. So any other topics would be there. Small things I did not write it. So these are the major things we will use in real time mostly. Okay, animations related things not required. So because of performance issues. Yeah, so just ping me. Do you want any other topics inside this? Means, so do you know or not regarding these 16 topics? If you don't know, I will try to discuss a little bit more. Opacity also not that much important. So that is for general websites, we will do it. So please explain point 5 specificity. Yeah, I will explain one more time. Yeah, and any other point from point 12, everything. Yeah, this is I will explain, but opacity, so just for hiding the images, just for contrast, we have to reduce for that. Okay, I will explain this visibility hidden and display colon none. Yeah, so class inheritance. Yeah, so class inheritance and all those things we have to discuss about SAS and less parsers. So in those scenarios we have to cover. Yeah, this position, static, absolute, all those things at the time of flex grid, I told you, right? So before bootstrap, we will cover something, and before grid, so like we have flex, right? So we will cover these positions. So these are not useful in real time because we are using bootstrap and flex. So that is the reason. So we can avoid all these things, because so while using these things, we will get some conflicts. So that is the reason. So better approach, if you want to go for, then we have to go for the so flex grid. Okay, we will see that thing. Precedence means you mean order, Parash? Like
Yes,
which
yes,
one
sir.
is the first? That one president you are asking?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So that order I will let you know. So, but before that, we have to discuss about, before discussing that one. So we have to concentration on this selectors order, that is specificity. Yeah. So any other? Fine, right? So now, so these two things. So do you want this explanation one more time, or that is enough? Not required, right? Yesterday I have given. Yeah. So I will explain this one now. So any other things? Specificity, someone asked. Okay, so remaining CSS properties I will explain at the time of bootstrap and grid system. Okay, fine. So now let me explain. So yesterday's one, just I want to show you. So you know already. So this box model, just summary I'm giving. So even remaining things also I will try to give summary, but I will more focus on these two examples. That's it. Okay. Fine. So here, so just width and height I have provided. If you want to draw any rectangle or square or something, so after that we are providing margin, border, and padding. So margin means, okay, let me, okay. So margin, you know, right? So this is the margin. Okay. So this is the padding from here to here. So this is the content. So red color is the border. Okay, so you can give the, so left, right, top, bottom also we know. So for better understanding, I'm giving only for border, left, right, top, bottom. If you want, we can provide for margin and padding also. Okay, so because we are able to see the color, right? But those two are transparent. That's why. So we can able to understand, but this is a little bit more better. So border left, right, top, bottom. Okay, so I want to change colors. Okay, so here the border left would be this one, border top, border right, border bottom. Similar way, margin left, margin top, margin right, and margin bottom. Similar way, padding left, padding top, padding right, padding bottom. But margin and padding, these two are so transparent, right? So that is the reason. So if you don't want, so padding left only if you require, but if you don't want padding top, so then it will, so come here, this text content, from here it will start. Okay, so you know this bootstrap, sorry, this box model already. So now let me concentrate on specificity. So yesterday we have discussed about specificity, right? Order. So if you want to provide the order of the inline, internal, external, attribute, class selector, ID selector, all those things, then we will call it as specificity. So we will give the priority for the selectors. Okay, so specificity, so is a rule. So they have provided, who provided this rule? So browser. Okay, so specificity is a rule used by the browser or browsers to apply so different priorities to different selectors. Okay, so here we know types of selectors we can use. So different selectors. So universal selector. So this is the least priority. So type selector would be there. Okay, so then class selector would be there, and attribute selector would be there. I think no need to explain each and every selector, right? So sudo classes and sudo So element selectors, and the sixth one is ID selector. So then it will give the highest priority to the inline style, and last one is important. This is not selector, so these seven are selectors. So this is just they have given one keyword important, exclamatory important, we have to use it. Okay, fine. So this is the priority. The priority would be increasing from top to bottom. So which one is the highest priority? Important. Then inline, next ID, next pseudo classes and elements, then attribute, then class, then type, then universal selector. Okay, so this is nothing but specificity. So if you want to provide all selectors, then you can test it easily. So yesterday we have seen inline, internal, external, and along with we have provided the important keyword. So just you know the remaining selectors, just try to apply attribute selector, pseudo classes and elements, then which one will give the highest priority. So you can trial and error. Okay. Fine. So this is nothing but specificity. Who provided this rule? Browsers only. Okay, that's it. So another one is visibility, hidden, and so display colon none. So this is one of the most important interview question. So most of the times, so both are used for, even sometimes they will ask opacity, but opacity, so generally we have to use for hiding the images, generally we have to use. So when, for example, if it is a banking application, I want to display bank in the background and foreground, I want to display some text. In those scenarios, we will use opacity. But nowadays, very rare case, we will use opacity normal websites. But in real time, so we have to use the so visibility hidden and display colon none. So this is very important. Okay, so let me write down that one. So both are used for hiding the data. Okay, so I'm trying to write. So this is fast div block something. So in which scenarios we have to use? For example, if it is an e-commerce web application, I want to display the item. So which item? Some item is there, but at present that is out of stock. That scenario, sometimes we don't want to display item, but we need to display the space. Some item is there by default. Sometimes they will display by default image sometimes based on their requirement. So we have to provide. Okay. So here I'm providing normal div block, right? So then I'm trying to apply some simple style. I'm using inline style. If you want, you can use internal or external. Style, visibility, visible, similar to, so visibility, hidden, display colon none. Okay, so then visibility visible, that is by default. So that's why how it looks like normal one. So this is also similar. Okay, so for better understanding, second div block, third div block, fourth div block. Okay, okay, this is also we will write like this. Check it out. Only first and second, these two div blocks are visible, but third one and fourth one, it doesn't display. So both are same, right? Then why we have to use these two? So visibility, hidden and display colon none, both are same. So then why we have to use these two, right? So one is, so visibility hidden, it will hide the data but it will occupy the space in the DOM level. So display colon none, so it will not occupy the space in the DOM. Then what is DOM, right? So DOM is not new thing. So DOM stands for document object model. We will learn a lot. So this document object model, so inside the JavaScript we will do the DOM manipulations. It's very important. So normally, so JavaScript level, we will provide the document object. So then onwards, we are writing HTML tree. Okay, so this HTML is having, we know, two sections. So one is head section, second one is the body section. So inside the head section, we will provide so title, so link, script, and meta. So coming to the body section, I don't want to write all the tags. At present, I'm writing table and div. So inside the table, we can write so tr. So inside, okay, we will write one by one. So under tr, we can write the td. So if you want, you can write under div span like this. So this whole tree is nothing but we will call it as so DOM tree. Okay, title and div. So this title, okay, actually this link script, these things will come individually inside the head. So these are not under title, right? So link, script, okay, I'll leave it about all these things. Yeah. So here we will provide table under tr, tr under td, similar way div under span something. Okay, so this tree is nothing but DOM tree. So whatever the elements would be there, if you write some data, so that data we can modify through so JavaScript. So that is nothing but DOM manipulations, means DOM modifications. But DOM means whatever the data we are seeing in the HTML, so that is nothing but DOM tree. So now here what will happen? So whenever we have to use the so visibility hidden, it will hide the data. This is also, it will hide the data. But the thing is, so it will not remove from the DOM level. So internally inside the DOM, it will occupy the space. So, but here it will remove the space, that particular DOM tree. So we will see practically, if you provide one more div block, then you can understand easily. So display colon none, this is normal div block we are writing. So now we can understand easily. So first to leave it. So these all are normal and by default visibility visible. Okay. So now comment this one. Okay. First one we have to provide. This one is not required. So we will check first display colon none. Okay. So first div block is there. So third, fourth div block is there and fifth div block is there. So display colon none means it would be hiding the data. So now it will display first and fifth, right? First and fifth. And first, fifth, immediately it will display the data, right? So there is no space between first and fifth. So if you write like this, so then it will occupy the space. So whenever visibility hidden, if you write it, so internally DOM tree level, it will occupy the space, but we are unable to see. So that is the difference between visibility hidden and display colon none. Both are hiding the data, but hidden, it will occupy the space in the DOM level. Means, so in the tree level, it would be there, but we are unable to see. But display colon none, it will remove that div block. It will not occupy the space. It will so hide the data, but it will remove from that tree. So that is the thing. Comment directly. Which shortcut keys? Just control slash. Okay, is shortcut for HTML, CSS, JavaScript. In the Visual Studio Code, control slash is the shortcut for commands. Yeah, so this is the difference between visibility hidden and display colon none. Not control. Okay, you are asking not plus symbol, control slash. Okay, fine. So this is the way we have to discuss about visibility hidden and display colon none. Okay, fine. So now I think remaining things we can continue. So I think these are the specific they have asked. So now we will move to the normal approach of CSS. Yeah, so what we have discussed yesterday until we have covered that box model. Until box model we have covered, right? So now we will discuss about rounded corners. Okay, let me explain a little bit fast because you're already aware. So why we have to use rounded corners? For better look. So generally we know in the paint itself it is there. So this is normal square or rectangle. So if you want to add so rounded corners, it would be like this. So for that, so which property we have to use? So border radius. That radius, how much shape, how much curve is required. So for that, we have to use border radius property. I want only small curve. So for that, I may provide 5 pixel like that. And here you need to remember, so this border radius property is related to the CSS3. Maybe some browsers doesn't support this border radius. Most of the browsers, it will support modern browsers. So for example, some browsers, they may not support old browsers. For that, what we have to do, for the Mozilla browser, we have to add prepended with hyphen moz hyphen. For Opera browser, we have to provide hyphen o hyphen. So for Safari browser, we have to provide WebKit. So one of the interviews, because we know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, TypeScript, Angular, React.js, Vue.js, Ember.js, any Node.js, something. Because so as an experienced guy only, they have asked this question. So in the front-end technologies, what is WebKit? Then immediately they will get confused. What is WebKit? So how to explain? So WebKit is the prepended with for the CSS3 properties. If browser doesn't support CSS3 properties in the Safari browser, then we have to prepend with that WebKit keyword. So then it will work. So we have to explain in the interview like that. So generally, if they ask WebKit directly, so then they will get confused. No, I do not have idea about WebKit. But if you practice more on WebKit, okay, we have used somewhere else. Okay, so at the time of CSS3 features, if you want to apply Safari browser, if you want to support, then we have to use so this WebKit, okay, prepended with this border radius. Not only border radius, any CSS3 property, just we have to prepended with those browser related extra syntax. That's it. So common one, this one, and so for remaining browser supports, we have to add. Okay, fine guys. So next, so we have to discuss about linear gradient. I think not required to display this thing in the browser because you already aware. So linear gradients. So linear gradient generally we have to use for the background property. So for example, earlier days, if you want to provide so some like a glassy type of side headings. So for that we have to use so this linear gradient. So they may use Adobe Photoshop or something, but now not required. So by using linear gradient, we can achieve that type of glassy look. How we will see. So this is a small thing. So I'm providing only simple div. So even I can provide that one also, but okay, fine. So div, I want to provide some, if you want ID selector, then I provide. So so something gradient, something as you wish, you can give any ID name. So if you provide ID selector, we have to provide the my gradient just so in real time. So we have to copy paste is recommended.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. There are two questions.
Okay.
What if we have to display two or more div blocks side by side?
Okay.
And the second question is, sir, CSS, what we're doing, I thought it is universally accepted by all browsers. So in
Okay.
the real world, do we have to make sure that our website can be viewed on Safari? So we have to include WebKit and Opera, we have to include OP, or it is just like we have to make it for Google and sorry, Google Chrome. So how does it works actually?
Google Chrome common property, it works. So if you want to provide border radius, by default it browser supports. But if you want to work with Mozilla, Safari, and Opera, we have to prepare with that one. Even so, these properties supported by those browsers also. If it doesn't support, so we need to provide, right? So because of that reason, 90% of the properties, CSS3 properties, so all the browsers, modern browsers is supporting. So in case doesn't support, so we have to give the backup, right? So for that reason, we are writing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, here I'm writing. So just so that particular background, if you want, we can provide the height also. Okay, we will see. So if you want to apply radial, radial gradient not required, Pratiksha. So that is, what is that in real time circles we should not use. Okay. So background, so we have to use so linear. So mostly I will try to explain in real time what we have to use. So unnecessary things, see in a real time what will happen, 100% is, so 90% is we will use regularly. So 10% is related things we can search in Google, we can apply immediately because we have too much of knowledge, right? So for that, we may miss important points of JavaScript and React. So those two things are very, very important. We need to discuss each and everything from those. But normally HTML, if you want to explain, for example, I'm saying, so it will take 1 month time also, even if you want to explain each and everything, even CSS also, including grid, bootstrap, grid system, everything I'm saying. Okay, but if you discuss that much here, so but most of the things are not useful in real time. So that is the reason, very rare case we will use, but unnecessarily time waste, right? So if you want to discuss each and everything, it may take 6 months or 8 months time also. Even I have taught, I think it is like JavaScript. So I think 3 years back, only JavaScript, I teach more than 3 months. So that's what, so based on our situation, we have to go for each and everything. Okay, don't worry, I will try to give almost all the things in real time. What are the things we are using? I will try to cover each and everything. Okay, fine. So my gradient, so linear gradient, we can provide the, so I want to give any colors, red, green, something blue. Okay, so by default, it will display from top to bottom. If you want to display some left to right, right to left or something, so then we can provide the to right to left like that. Okay, so let me provide. So why I'm explaining through examples, I need to explain something else. That's why I'm writing this example. Okay. Yeah, so linear gradient as it is. So I'm writing now. So backup. So by default, always we have to keep it last one. Okay. So for WebKit, okay, for Opera. So means by default means this will support remaining all browsers. So Opera and Moz. Okay, so now we will check it out. data is not there. Okay, but at least it should display something, right? Any mistake we have done? Yeah. So from top to bottom, it is displaying by default red, green, blue, right? So, but I want, so left to right or right to left, that scenarios, we have to specify to right. So earlier it supports even right also, left also, but they have removed and they are providing only to right, to left. We will check it out, still it supports or not. So why it is giving, oh, RGB got applied. Just a second. Okay, so I have actually booked through online that medicines, because of that reason only I'm letting the calls. Otherwise, I don't want to leave. Okay, fine. So background linear gradient. So okay, let me check it out. So that right is working or not? Yeah, it is working. So you can use right or left. We can use, see here. So red, green, blue. So if you want to provide, you can provide left also. Okay. So why I'm explaining this one? Okay, now come to the colorpicker.com. Okay, so this is one of the websites they have redirected to the some web FX. Okay, so you can choose colors from the, what happened? Yeah, so you can choose any colors from here. And one more thing, so ColorZilla is plugin is there for Chrome browser. So these are very important in real time if you want to go for as a designer. Okay, so ColorZilla, so you have to install. So then what will happen? For example, I have seen one website. So I want to same as it is color, I like it. So I want to fetch that color. Mm. See, if you change the color, if you observe here, okay, observe here top. See, so if you like some color, for example, I'm moving to the some Amazon related site. Okay. See, if you observe here, color picker, I like this color, blue. So which are the things you have provided? You know the colors, right? So hard-coded value would be there, hexadecimal would be there, RGB would be there, RGBA would be there. So you can use, but here they have given clearly. So hexadecimal value, this one, and this is red, green, blue, RGB values they have provided. So whichever color you want, just click here, then choose that particular color. So this is ColorZilla plugin for Chrome, or otherwise, if you want any special colors, so you can use this colorpicker.com. So now it's converted into webfx.com. Okay, fine. So because of that reason I have explained, so I did not explain color property. So that's why I have covered here. So if you want any colors, you have to use those two things. So here, why I have explained for transparency. So we do in real time, we don't want to use red, green, blue, all those things, right? So I want to take dark color first. So then I want to take it, I will give this thing. So hash symbol later. So then we have to give the, so then a little bit light, and then you can give white. Okay. Sir, why you have copied left means, so we can understand easily from left parenthesis to right parenthesis. Okay, so now check it out. Somewhat glassy type look, right? If you observe the mobile back pouches, so first initially dark color, so then it would be light color. Okay, so if you want that color, so that color also black, right? I want that color white. So you know, right? White. So you should remember hexadecimal, white, so 6 or 3 Fs, black, you should remember 3 zeros or 6 zeros. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay, fine. So this is nothing but, so what is this one? Linear gradient. Okay, so next one is text shadow and box shadow. Okay, we will provide as it is. So let me provide it if this thing is there. So now I want to provide, so first width, I want to provide both at a time, text shadow and box shadow. So width, I want to provide 200 pixels. If you want to create any box, first we have to remember, so height and this one, okay, 100 pixels. Okay, so if you want, we can provide the, so box shadow. If you want, you can provide the padding, margin, all those things. Okay, I will provide you padding, you can understand. So normal, I'm giving 10 pixel, 10 pixel, some gray. So mostly in real time for box shadows, we will use gray color only, not green, blue or something. So light gray they will prefer. Sir, what if you have to display 2 or more div blocks side by side? Answers. So if you want to display side by side div, then we have to use inline block. So that is, I think you have already covered, right, those things. So block, inline block would be there. Then we have to use side by side. Okay, fine. That is one of the interview questions. Okay, fine. So box shadow, 10 pixel, 10 pixels, gray we have to use. So now, so width, height we have provided. And now we have to provide the text shadow, we will provide separately. Okay, for heading we will provide. Something text shadow content. I'm writing here element selector. So this is ID selector, this is element selector. So I'm trying to provide text shadow for that. So 2 pixel, some light gray or gray as you wish. So 1 pixel is enough, but for a better understanding, I'm writing. So hello, gray, everything is fine, right? With something 3 pixels you can provide. Okay, we will see. Okay. So text shadow is coming, but box shadow. So my gradient is there, so width is there, height is there. Box shadow, if you want, we can provide the background or border, then we can understand. So background something yellow. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, some green something, it looks good. Okay, fine. So leave, okay, then provide light gray. Leave it about these things, otherwise it will take too much of time. So now you understand, right? So text shadow, generally we prefer 1 pixel in real time, not 2 pixels. Okay, so then it looks good. So, and coming to the box shadow, so it would be light, this thing actually we will use light gray, and this is also not this much is required. 10 pixel, 5 pixel is more than enough. And for designing websites, they make you 4 sites and all those things. That is normally, so at the time of normal websites they will do, but in real time we don't want to do that much of priority for these things. Okay, so for small better look we will use this type of shadows. Okay, fine. So next one is multi-column layout. So generally this one is not required at the time of bootstrap grid system. So, but okay, if you want to display the content in the multiple parts, the same content we are providing, but while displaying, it will display different parts. Okay, so for that we will use multi columns. Same thing. I don't want to change anything. Okay, fine. So here I'm providing same thing, but I want to split the some text I want to provide here. More text. Okay, for example, let me copy some text. Okay, get your java gtu.blogspot. So something I want to capture some information. Okay. Otherwise this is enough. Okay. Oh, too much data is there. Okay, fine. Okay, same. So here I want to split that data into multiple parts. So for that they have given column count. Okay, how many parts I want? 3 parts. So column gap. How much gap is required for one column to another column? Some 30 pixels. So another one is column rule style. So here, if you want to display one rod, so between one content to the another content, some separation line, vertical line. So column rule style. So you have to give solid, dotted, dash, 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 all those things. Okay, fine. So now check it out. But this column count, column gap, column rule style would be applicable for all the browsers, right? So just we have to provide same column count 3 times. Okay, so those 3 just for hyphen mouse hyphen. Okay, so WebKit Opera. Okay, I don't want to provide for these things, you know, right? So it will work for Chrome, but you have to do it for remaining things. Just provided normal things. Okay, fine. So this is normally I have written continuous content, but it is displayed in the browser. So different parts, column count. So here solid is there. If you want, we can change that dotted or something, you know, right? Dotted or dashed or something. So these all are we have learned. Okay, fine. So this is nothing but multi-column layout. Okay, fine. So these are the things we will use CSS. Okay, basic means without using any bootstrap, without using any grid. Okay, so this CSS we will use it. Okay, so now we will move to the JavaScript fundamentals. Okay, so what is JavaScript? What are the advantages of JavaScript? So what are the drawbacks of JavaScript? All those things we will cover. So if you have any JavaScript, you can ping me. So what are the advantages of JavaScript? You can ping me. Each and every person ping me at least 2 points. Okay, I will give you 3 minutes time. So you can ping me at least 3 points each person. Okay, so I need to get the response from all the 26 means I think 25 members, right? So I need to get the response from all the 25 members. Okay, do it fast. Why we can this work same for media like images? Yes, we can images also. So if space is not there, then it will move to the next row. It will work. Yeah, you can ping me at least 2 advantages of JavaScript. Fast, make it fast. What do you know in the BTech level or MCA level decides the behavior of website or web page? No, I'm not asking about definition. I'm asking about what are the advantages of JavaScript. Yeah, sorry guys, I went to outside because of heavy rain outside, so that's why suddenly I went. Yeah, so fine, right? Yeah, so now let me discuss about JavaScript. Fine. So most of the members they have sent their own opinion. Okay, good. I think only how many members responded. Suraj is respond multiple times. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, fine. Yeah. So now we will, yeah, one more person. Less server load. This is traffic. Yes. Support all motion browsers. Okay. Fine, fine. Yeah. So now we will discuss about what is JavaScript. Then we will discuss about JavaScript advantages and disadvantages. Okay. So before learning any JavaScript, you should aware of HTML and CSS. Otherwise, it would be difficult to understand JavaScript. So because every time we are using so that script tag. So and if you want to check with sometimes so dynamic data, if you want to display in the view page, JavaScript result, inner HTML, inner text, these things we will use. So for that HTML is required. Even CSS is not required that much for JavaScript learning except that DOM manipulations. If you want to change the styles dynamically, if you want to provide any themes dynamically, so then we will use that CSS in JavaScript. Otherwise, not required for JavaScript. CSS is not required, but HTML is mandatory. Yeah, fine. So now we will discuss what is JavaScript. Guys, listen carefully. This is very, very important. So it will change your complete life. So if you know, because I came from the Java background. So if you know the core Java, then we can rule the world. Similar way, Python. Someone is, guys, please mute your mics. Okay, fine. So coming to the front-end technology, guys, if you know the JavaScript, then we can rule the world. Because so JavaScript related technologies, I'm telling only famous technologies, mostly we are using in real time nowadays. So JavaScript, so React.js, Angular, Vue.js. So these are the things we will use as a front-end UI layer. Okay, so UI development. Server side, Node.js related, that framework, Express.js. Okay, so database wise, MongoDB. Okay, so these are the things we are using regularly nowadays, this JavaScript libraries and frameworks. Okay, so mostly we are using Angular now, but in future we will use only React. So compared to the Angular, we will use more React.js. Okay, so then so leave it about server side because I think you are already learning about Python, right? Okay, so now come to the JavaScript. The main advantage of JavaScript is to create the so behavior or business logic of the web page. So till now we have seen only first layer, that is view layer. Please check our answers are right or wrong first. Yeah, I have seen everything is correct only, but not 100% is, but everything is correct only. Don't worry. I have seen all the answers. Yeah. So JavaScript, the main advantage of JavaScript is to create the behavior or so business logic of the web page. Okay, so till now we have seen only user interface. So if you want to write any development, then we have to use JavaScript. Yeah, so here I'm trying to discuss about a little bit more about this JavaScript again. So just a minute for us. So if I explain something, if I ask something, no, so then I will miss that flow. So once we stop something, then you can ask more questions. Okay, fine. Sir, why Node.js is getting fame nowadays in web development, even though it is single-threaded system and it can't be used for big projects? Yeah. So for us, generally, so Java is more famous because of security level. Okay, so compared to the Java or .NET, so even Python, so Node.js doesn't support all the scenarios. Actually, Node.js, they have introduced it for the so network level operations. So not for the entire. Initially, they thought that. So, but later that, okay, we can use even server side and everything also. Okay, but still, so Java, you know, right? So Java, because I don't know about Python. So how much so core like core Java, advanced Java, Spring is there, Hibernate is there. So different technologies are there. But Node.js, nothing. Very simple, right? So just for server side, if you want to maintain for networking level, if you want to maintain, so then we will use Node.js. So not 100% is like Java. So and security wise, not that much security provided by the so this Node.js. So these all cases they have introduced so only for lightweight, even MongoDB also. So JavaScript related database, but it doesn't support all the scenarios. But still, if you want to go for complex projects, we will use so MySQL or DB2 or Oracle, right? But some projects would be there small projects. But why we have to use Oracle, MySQL, DB2? MongoDB is more than enough. So why we have to use Java server-side technologies for small applications? So then go for Node.js. So that is the situation based on your project. So then we will go for the particular technology. Okay, so that is not a this thing. So if you want to go for so multiple or complex related projects, if you want to maintain session related stuff, all those things, so then we will go for server side technology first of all. And if you want to go for complex level, then we will go for Java, .NET, Python, these things. And if you want to go for smaller projects, then we have to go for Node.js. Okay, fine. Yeah. So here he asked one more thing. So single threaded and all those things. I think most of the members they will get confused that single threaded model. Okay. But in JavaScript we will discuss at the time of event loop mechanism. So what is single threaded model and all those things. Okay. So event loop mechanism would be there. So then I will explain. So Java supports multi-threaded. So but asynchronous operations would be there. Don't worry, don't confuse. He asked one question. Because of that reason, I have explained all these things. So guys, if you don't know, also leave it. I will explain scratch onwards. Okay, don't worry. Yeah. So here, so why we have to use JavaScript is to create the behavior or business logic of the web page. So, and also it is used for client side. So we can use this JavaScript mostly client side purpose initially. Okay. So now we can use server side, even database level also. Okay. And moreover, so if you want to use JavaScript, so we can develop interactivity and dynamic effects. We know, right? So I told you, if you want to change the DOM manipulation, or if you want to display the data, for example, I'm getting the data from the database. Okay. I want to display that data inside the view page. సో దట్ ఈస్ డైనమిక్నెస్ జస్ట్ సెకండ్ వర్షిని కొద్దిగా అటు సైడ్ వెళ్ళమ్మా లేకపోతే స్లో చిన్న సౌండ్ పెట్టుకో ఓకే సారీ did not mute mic. Okay, fine. So here, so what are the advantages? So if you want to go for dynamicness, then we will go for JavaScript. Okay. So normally, if you want to go for, so why we have to go for scripting language instead of programming languages, right? So most of the members, they will get confused here. Sir, we have already programming languages. Why we have to go for scripting languages? So we have Java. Why can't we use Java for the view pages, right? So we can use it, right? Why can't we use .NET for the view pages? Why can't we use Python for view pages, right? So if you use that Java, .NET, Python for the view pages, every time it will hit the server. Again, if you hit the server, again that server would be burden. If you want to reduce the server burden, so then we will go for the front end side scripting languages. Okay, so just for view level layer, if you want to develop, then we will use it. Okay, so and moreover, so the code is generally usually executed without compiling. So that is the main advantage of scripting languages. Okay, so and moreover, so this scripting languages is similar to the programming language only. So it will have all the features. Even nowadays, even programming languages also including the scripting languages. Okay, fine. So but each and everything we have to take care about without using JavaScript also we have to manage. So that type of thing, even Java, they got it from Java 8, even Python already scripting language, so they are using. Okay, so that is the reason. But still, if you want to go for only front end layer, so still we are using JavaScript, JavaScript related libraries and frameworks only. Okay, fine. So now we will discuss about advantages of JavaScript. Once again, we will write it fast. Okay, simple thing. So whenever we have to create the HTML form, if you want to validate that form, so whether proper data we are sending to the server or not. So for that, we will use this JavaScript. Okay, so we can validate the user form data, not only user form, it may be product form or anything. So user form data, so before submitting to the server. So server means indirectly server side technologies. Okay, that server side technologies will deploy into the server. Okay, so you should aware of that. Little bit confusion should be there if you are new. So server side technologies are, so this Java, .NET something. Servers are Tomcat, WebLogic, WebSphere. Okay, so these all are servers. Okay, so what's happening here? So that Java or .NET or Python, some codes, so we will deploy. Deploy means just we will put. So deploy our Java code. So jar files, Java archive. So AR files, enterprise archive means, so those are also not new things. If you want to compress normal files, we will call it as zip files, right? 7-zip or WinZip something. Same rare files would be there, right? Similar way, so that Java classes, .NET classes, that files or Python classes, if you want to compress, if it is a normal web application, we will call it as WAR, web application archive. Oh, sorry. So why I'm explaining, no need to confuse. So if it is enterprise related application, so it means complex business related application. So this is enterprise archive. Okay, so just these all are, so just compressed files, that's it. Okay, don't think too much about these things. So at present, just remember server side technologies and servers. Okay, so now onwards we are learning only front end technologies here, right? So either server side technologies, both are same here. Okay, you can think, you can imagine like that. Okay, okay, fine. So if you want to modify the web page so dynamically, then also we can use JavaScript. Okay, so we can modify the content of web page dynamically. Okay, so modification means we can do the adding, removing or something. If you want, you can write here, adding or removing something. Okay, so and also we can develop the like gad widgets. So widgets means like we know, right? So if you want to display date or calendar picker or horoscope, this type of widgets also we can develop by using. So this JavaScript we can, so we can so develop widgets like, so what are those? So calendar, horoscope. If you want, you can write down some rough notes. It would be so easy to understand. So once we write it, then it's similar to so 10 times reading like that, right? We know that formula. So that's why better to maintain one notes. It would be useful for you. And if you want to change the styles dynamically also, we can use it, this JavaScript. So that dynamic data is there. If you want, we can write it. So we can apply, we can develop themes. So themes means so dynamically change the styles. Okay, so someone pinged me. So this feature someone pinged me already. So we can do the animations. Okay, so like we can events, like for example, if you want to click on mouse click or mouse over, if you want to provide so this type of things. See here we are clicking, so right, if you mouse over something happen, some something they have written something code, right? If you mouse over, then it is moving up the content. Sometimes if you click on that, then it will display something else. So like this, based on events also we can provide by using JavaScript, right? So we can monitor events like, so we have multiple events, but mostly in real time we will use so mouse click and mouse over, sometimes blur, sometimes mouse leave, these things. Mostly click and mouse over. So H over means mouse over, etc. Okay, and also we can display the pop-ups. If you want to go for greatandhra.com, so if you want to see the generally Friday, they will give one advertisement. Oh, sorry, this is not correct website. Greatandhra.com. Okay, see, yeah, luckily some advertisement is there. This is pop-up. So I did not do anything. It will go after a couple of seconds. It will redirect to the actual web page. See, I did not click anything. So because they have given some pop-ups for advertisement, some movies or something. Oh, it is heavily lagging here. So I think power will be gone, but UPS backup is there. Okay, so that type of things also we can use. So we can so create pop-ups to display so information. Okay, to display the information to the user. Okay, so and also we can do the, so I told you, right, fetch the data from the server side technologies also, right? So we can fetch means get, fetch the server side data. Okay, server side data from, okay, we can write fetch the data, that is enough, from server side technologies. So like Java, I'm writing here for understanding .NET and Python something. Okay, so not only these things, okay, so we can use different libraries also, this JavaScript, and also, oh, okay, so if you want, we can communicate different web pages. We know the header part, body part, so footer part, navigation. If you want to e-commerce web application, so middle body content would be there. So that body content, if you want to pass the data, right, add to cart. For example, here, So here I want to display, so one product I like it. Okay, so I want to add one mobile. So if I try to view dealer, okay, so if I click on add to cart, this is actually body page. If I try to add to cart, so immediately this entire body related object will move to the here. So this is from body page to cart page, right? So we are moving the data, so that is very important. So we are, or we can communicate the data from, so one web page to the other. Okay, and we can use, so different JavaScript libraries would be there, frameworks would be there, right? So we can use JavaScript in different libraries, okay, frameworks and databases. Okay, so you can understand here. So library means a React library or JSX library would be there. So and frameworks like Angular framework would be there. So this type of things also we can use by using JavaScript. Okay, so just these are the main advantages. Okay, so if you want to write it, so still if you are writing, then let me know, or otherwise I will move to the disadvantages. But make sure you have to maintain one notebook. That would be very useful for you while practicing assignments and all those things. So recordings not sufficient. So every time if you want to watch recordings, it would be very difficult. Yeah, so but whenever we have to write it now, so then we can do the assignments easily. Okay, but programs, don't write it. I will ping you in the chat window. Okay, if you write it, then it will take too much of time, but I will explain each and every line of code. Okay, but I will ping you that code. You can copy and paste it into some notepad or somewhere. Okay, so why I'm giving these things? For assignments purpose. So learning is one thing, doing is another thing. That is important. Okay, so now come to the disadvantages. Yes, GitHub share kar dena, sir. Not git GitHub repository. So just write down, that would be better for you. So if you write down, then it would be useful for you. So what is that, 10 times reading like that, you can understand easily. But better to maintain rough notebook. No, don't write it neatly. If you want, you can write later that neatness, but initially at the time of class only you can write down. I don't want to give that much time. So while writing, while explaining only, you can write down. And if you want, you can type it somewhere else later. Okay, if you have time. So now JavaScript disadvantages. So what are the JavaScript disadvantages? First disadvantage is, so no code security. We have already learned for HTML, CSS. The same issue would be applicable for the JavaScript also. We are able to see that code. For example, we have already discussed, okay, once again. So Control U is the shortcut for able to see the entire JavaScript code. Even if you provide inline, internal, external, anything, we can able to see. So this is internal JavaScript they have used, right? If you want to go for external, just script src something. If you observe, okay, they have used it later. Or they have used completely internal only. Okay, let me go for the Flipkart. Control U, Control F, script. Yeah, these guys, they have used some external JS script src. Click on that. Still, we are able to see. So what is this? Sir, normally if you write JavaScript code, it should not be like this, right? So this is a compressed version of JavaScript. Normally in real time, so we have three situations. Normally we will use. So one is development version. So we can understand the code easily. So testing, similar for testers. And third one is is production. So compressed version. So like we know, right? So even Java where so yeah, something files would be there, web archive, enterprise archive. Similar way here also JavaScript code, CSS code. So they want to compress and they will find out. At the time of Bootstrap, we will learn that compressed versions of so that JavaScript and CSS files. So those all are nothing but CDN. Okay, don't worry. I'm giving before that some explanation. If you did not remember, also no issues. I want to explain clearly at the time of Bootstrap. So this is content delivery, so network. So in at the time of Bootstrap, we will use normal one and as well as production one also. Okay, don't worry. So here mostly that compressed version is nothing but production environment. Okay, fine. Yeah, so first drawback is no code security. So we are able to see the code. Second one is cross browser dependent issues. So what are cross browser dependent issues? So if you write some code, JavaScript code, it may works in Chrome, it may not work in IE8. So it may work in Opera, it may not work in Mozilla. So this type of issues, we may get it. So for that, what we have to do, right? We have to write separate code, especially at the time of plain Ajax calls. Okay, without using any framework or library, if you write Ajax calls, then we have to write separate code for the IE browser. So that XML HTTP request object. Okay, and sometimes some situations that browsers doesn't support all the JavaScript scenarios examples. So then we have to write separate code for those browsers. So that type of issues we will get it. So this issue will resolve by using JavaScript libraries and frameworks like Angular, React, Vue.js. So we'll not take care about this cross-browser dependent issues. Then who will take care that libraries and frameworks? We need not to take care about this cross-browser, but if you want to work with pure JavaScript, then we need to take care about cross-browser dependent issues. Okay, fine. So third one. So if you disable the JavaScript, then there is no action event. Okay, if you disable the JavaScript, then there is no action events means. So whenever you want to click something, for example, every browser is having so disable functionality. Okay, so JavaScript disable in Chrome. For a different browsers, different approaches would be there. So if you want to go for open Chrome DevTools, so press Control Shift P something. So start typing JavaScript, something would be there, or otherwise. Okay, sorry. Yeah, here, if you observe, some three dots would be there. If you want to go for settings, some advanced settings would be there. So disable something would be there here. Let me check it out. So JavaScript disable something. So home button something. Where is JavaScript? Okay, let me run JavaScript. Where it is. Somewhere it would be the site settings. Yes. So JavaScript allowed is there. So if you disallow means if you so not allowed this one, then it would be something else. Okay, I want to show you lively. So some Gmail registration. Okay, this is actually the page. So this page is dynamically they have developed this page. So that's why if you disable the JavaScript, then that the same page, just refresh, you can understand. See the page clearly. Okay, so now disable, see the page. So that each and every field they have used dynamically from the JavaScript. You can create the elements by using JavaScript also. So that is nothing but DOM manipulations. Okay, fine. So now enable the JavaScript. Oh, so this zoom, the top window will come if I go the tabs. That is the thing. Okay, fine. So now enable that JavaScript. But nowadays, if you disable the JavaScript, so even 99 percentage websites will not work nowadays because that much popularity of JavaScript. Without JavaScript, there is no website. Okay, even real time or normal approach also. So JavaScript is mandatory, so that much popular. Okay, fine. So finally, if you disable the JavaScript, then there is no action events. Okay, so these are the biggest drawbacks of JavaScript. Okay, so next one, note down fast, make it fast. So JavaScript output display. So these all are fundamentals until for loop while noted, sir. Okay, cool. So output display. Normally, if you want to go for so HTML, so remove this part. Okay, so normally this is HTML. If you write, so welcome to HTML something, it will display, right? So go to the, where is that? Okay, go to the physical location. Yeah, so welcome to HTML. Same way, I want to display JavaScript related code. How? So first of all, if you want to write any JavaScript code, we should use script tag. We know, right? So if I write, so welcome to, so JavaScript. So will it works? No. So not like HTML. So what? So for displaying this welcome to JavaScript, we need to do something else. So that's something else they have given. So 4 approaches. Okay. So if you want to display the data, JavaScript data in the browser, so we have to use 4 approaches. What are those? Browser window. So browser console, dialog boxes, and HTML element. So these are the 4 approaches. So browser window, so normally we can display document.write. So this is an old approach. So we are not using it nowadays. So this is very important, console.log. Okay. So dialog boxes, we can use alert. So I told you, okay, I will explain at the time of window object, that is BOM object, browser object model. So we know DOM, right? Document object model. Similar way, BOM is there, BOM, BOM, browser object model. So one of the browser is model is window. Okay, don't worry. So alert or window.alert both are same. So this is the parent object. If you want to provide, you can provide or otherwise ignore. So that's why alert. So this window is the object. Inside that object, alert is the method. Okay. So every object is having properties and methods. So this is one of the method. Okay. So if you want to go for any console, click on developer tools. So come to the console. If you write window, see that entire window object. So that window object is having one of the method alert. Okay, so similar way we have multiple methods, multiple properties are there inside the window. For these all methods and properties, so no need to provide window. So because that is the parent object. So whether you have to write directly alert or window.alert, both are same. Okay, fine. So last one is document dot. So get element by ID of. So that ID we have to mention here. Don't worry, I will explain at the time of example. You can understand. So by using inner HTML also, we can display the data. Okay, so now we will see first three approaches now. So we will discuss separately this example later. Okay, fine. So now what we have to do? First approach, document dot write. And so this document dot write console dot log everything, it will accept only strings. In JavaScript, if you want to provide any string values, we have to provide a single quote or double quotes, no issues. You can use any quotes. Okay, so now check it out. So now it will display welcome to JavaScript also. Okay, I want to give small break. We know the HTML, that's why I'm giving break here, not in JavaScript. So if you use JavaScript, again, we have to provide the codes and all. So why it is coming welcome to JavaScript first? So not in HTML, because normally program will execute from top to bottom. But so in which scenarios JavaScript we have to write in the top, in which scenarios we have to write bottom of the page. It's very important. So normally JavaScript, we have to provide always before closing the body section, not inside the body section, before closing the body section. Why? Okay, so now your turn. I will wait for 1 minute so you can ping me. So why we have to write JavaScript code inside the body, that is before closing the body. Okay, you can ping me fast. Do it fast. So why we have to write the JavaScript code before closing body? Alkesh, that is wrong. Suraj, to give behavior to website HTML says should be ready first. Yeah, somewhat better, Suraj. Yeah, any other guys? So everyone should respond. If I continuously explain, some guys they may sleep. So that is the reason I will ask you sometimes questions. You need to respond, everyone. Don't worry, I will give you 5 minutes break, but just ping me fast. Load web app fast. Okay, so maybe at last, so that our page loads and the NGS runs, because it may take time. Okay, so heavy takes time to load. Okay, statement website opens. Yes, still don't know. Yeah, good, Pratik. There are some events which apply. Starting of the web page. Okay. Okay, fine. So now let me explain. Yeah, so that's correct only. Yeah, so the thing is, whenever we have to load the web page in real time, not here. Okay, so what will happen, so the program will execute from top to bottom. Okay, so top to bottom it will execute. If you write the JavaScript code inside the head section, so this JavaScript code normally in real time, so we will write so thousands or lakhs of lines of code. So if you write that 1 lakh lines of code in the JavaScript, we can write multiple JavaScript files also. For example, we have written 2 JavaScript files. Each JavaScript file is having 1 lakh lines of code. Okay, that 1 lakh lines of code for execution, it may take too much of time. but actually our page is so below that script code. So inside the body, whatever the data we are writing, so that is the actual data to display the data. But here the script code is executing, it is taking too much of time, so that white page is displaying, because still it is parsing the JavaScript code, right? So it will not display that HTML code. So that structure and content, it will not display. So first, what we have to do? We have to display the structure and content. Then we have to apply the styles. So when JavaScript is required, so whenever you want to click on something, then we have to do something else. So whenever you want to click on buttons, then we have to do something else. In those scenarios, JavaScript generally be required. For example, registration form, validations, whenever we have to click on register or submit button, then only JavaScript is required. So for that, why we have to provide inside the head section, right? But few scenarios we have to provide inside the head section, I will tell you. So which scenarios we have to provide inside the head section? First one is if you want to so disable the right click button. If you give the complete code, then if you provide the script code at the time of before closing the body, so they can able to right click. But if you write that disable the right click option, we have to write at the time of head only, then it will not display the content. So then we are blocking, means we are running that JavaScript code, we are blocking, he is unable to click. And moreover, so if you want to display some pop-up, some advertisement pop-ups, just now we have seen, right? Greatandhra.com website. So that web page first we have to display that advertisement. So later stage, that content is required. Even so here, if you observe clearly, so luckily we have this pop-up here. What happened? This is wrong. So great, and I think spelling mistake is there in that, so that's why. So it is see this advertisement. This is pop-up JavaScript pop-up only. So it is displaying. They are writing some set timeout function. After a couple of seconds, it would be disappear and it will display the actual page. So this type of JavaScript code we have to provide inside the head section, not inside the body. Okay, just remember those things. So remaining all scenarios we have to display. So before closing body section only. Okay, so that type of security things, that type of pop-ups, whenever the web page loads, if you need some JavaScript related information, so those scenarios we have to provide inside the head. Otherwise, we have to display inside the body, that is before closing the body. So normally, whenever the web page loads, first HTML code, that is structure and content. So then we have to apply the CSS, just brush means, so we have to design that web structure and content for that styles. So JavaScript generally, whenever you want to click something, then we have to do the some action. So that is the reason we have to use always before closing body section. Otherwise, it will display white screen. Okay, fine. Yeah, so now, so even so multiple websites are there, so we can use those websites and we can find out. Yeah, fine. So now we have displayed so documented.write. So another one is so console.log. Okay. So leave it about styles now. Do not concentrate about styles. So this is HTML. Okay, break is not required here. Okay, fine, save. So where it will display, oh, F12. So where it will display in the browser console tab. So welcome to JavaScript, it is displaying. So this is HTML. So but JavaScript code where it will display browser console tab. So what is the use of elements? Because I did not cover for you HTML and CSS much more. So that's why I did not explain this one. Okay, let me explain. Okay, so here, so elements, if you want to go for CSS and HTML code, then we will use this HTML elements. For example, welcome to HTML is on the fly. I want to change this HTML to HTML 2.0. See, it is modifying. Even we can change Amazon website also. So we can change the Amazon website. Okay. So for example, if it is text, not images. Okay. Secure your car. Something is there. Something Amazon Pay is there. So this is, I'm writing my name, Suresh Kumar. Suresh Kumar Pay, something instead of Amazon. Yes, Suresh Kumar Pay is there. So is it modified in the website? No, just our convenience. I'm checking if everything is ready. So instead of checking inside the code, it will take too much of time, right? So we have to save, we have to run everything. But once we understand, okay, everything fine, this is final. So we have to verify here, everything is success. Then we need to go for the code and we have to fix it. So for example, Suresh Kumar is there. So this is black and white, right? So I want to change color red. Okay. Okay. Something is occupied internally. Okay. So let me use somewhere else. Hi, Jagdish is there. Something, what is the class name? Something you can change inside the class level or otherwise. So for testing, whether it is applying or not, color, something red. Okay, it is applying. Okay, so red, if you observe, hi Jagdish, we have changed the color, but these all things on the fly. So for, okay, whether red color is good or blue is good, for checking here, okay, if the font size is not good, so let me apply font size something 20 pixels. Okay, so we have to write it 20 pixels. Okay, somewhere inherited. That is the reason it is coming like this. So font size, okay, let me apply something font family. Even font family also somewhere inherited, not inherited. On the fly, so we can make properties here. Okay, so this is the way we have to use elements. So now our turn is JavaScript. So right, so JavaScript, so what's happening? If you write any code inside the console.log method, so this is object, this is the log method, so it will display like this. So welcome to JavaScript. Okay, fine. So next one is alert. So this is just dialog box, it will display. So no need to display F12. F12 is the shortcut for this thing, or otherwise you can use any other shortcuts also. So welcome to JavaScript. So this is a dialog box. Okay, so one is document.write, second one is the console.log, and third one is the dialog box. So I will discuss this one separately. Okay, we have separate example here. So till now we have seen HTML comment side, how to comment, control slash in the Visual Studio Code. So that is HTML comment. So less than exclamatory hyphen hyphen. If you want to write CSS code, okay, let me show you all the comments at a time. So which tag I have written? I did not write anything, right? Okay. So let me provide div. Okay, so this is HTML comment. I will write down, don't worry. So for div, color, red, caps is coming every time. So CSS is over, JavaScript is over. HTML is over. See, for all those things, shortcut control slash only, but it will change based on the language. Okay, see, if you write slash star is the CSS. Okay, so JavaScript, we will see double slash for single line. So multiple lines, we have to use similar to CSS only. Okay, if you want to comment multi lines, okay, for example, if you have multiple lines, so if you want to comment at a time, so same similar to CSS, but CSS only one for single line and multiple lines only slash star. For JavaScript, we have two approaches. Okay, console.log hello document.write hello something is there. So if you want to comment multiple lines in the JavaScript, so it doesn't work. Visual Studio Code, it doesn't work. It will give only double slashes. But manually we have to do it for JavaScript multiple lines. Okay. So if you use Visual Studio Code, it will give multiple times double slashes. Okay, fine, no issues. Anything that is commented. Okay, shortcut, right? So we don't want to do anything. If you do manually, then we will use this approach. Okay, so HTML slash star control slash, everything is control slash. Okay, so these are the comments. So why we have to use comments in real time? That is very important. So learning this thing is different and you need to understand why we have to use in real time. So generally, so it is very useful in real time. For example, I have developed some code, JavaScript related code. So I ignore, so I give up that company. I may join in Infosys. So presently I'm working for Cognizant. So I have resigned my job and I'm trying to move to the Infosys. But what happened? So Cognizant people, I have worked for the Cognizant more than 7 years. From scratch onwards, I have worked for the same project. I know each and everything about that project, but remaining guys, they don't know. So then, so we are writing some functionality, right? So why we have to write that functionality, we need to mention in the comments. So this is the purpose of saving deposit for the bank, something. So we need to take customer ID. We can understand based on the function, but generally, so in the comment lines, we have to define each and everything. So in which year, so which, what is that quarter we have developed this one? And after that, is there any modifications or anyone is working on that? So we have to write each and everything in the comments. It is meaningful text message. Okay, so comments are so meaningful text message. Okay, messages, so that is completely ignored by the JavaScript engine. So JavaScript engine, it will ignore the execution because it can understand. So based on that syntax, double slash or slash star would be there. Okay, don't want to pass this one. Okay, ignore it. So that's why it doesn't execute in the real time, not only real time, normal program execution. So it will not execute. Okay, so first advantage is, so users can understand code easily, and second advantage is, so to avoid the unnecessary code. Okay, so these two scenarios we will use this commands. Okay, so we have single line commands and as well as multi-line commands, right? So if you want, you can write so advantages, so users can understand code easily. So if you feel bored, sir, we know already these things, then I will try to explain a little bit fast. No, sir, we want from scratch onwards, each and everything is clear. Oh, I did not see the chat window. Sorry, guys. No one is pinged me, right? One guy is pinged. He browser stops loading the, okay, earlier ping only. Yeah, so if you feel bored, we know already these things are something, then you can ping me immediately. Then I will try to explain a little bit fast. But as per my concern, I need to explain each and everything very clear. So that is the reason I'm explaining all these things. So to avoid the unnecessary code, Okay, so how many types? So there are two types of comments in JavaScript. One is single line. So second one is the multi-line. So I don't want to write again definition and all those things. For single line, we have to write single line comment. For multi-line, we have to use slash star. So multi-line comment, multi-lines comment. That's it. Write down fast. Yes, we want learning from scratch. Okay, Jose. So Zaif. Okay. So write down
Hello,
fast.
sir. Hello, sir.
Who is that?
I'm Suraj. Actually, I just wanted to ask you, if I write any function in a JavaScript, I
Yeah.
just want to describe it in a comment, right?
Yeah.
So, what that comment should contain in company if I want to write, if I want to explain that function, so what that comment should contain?
Yeah, we will discuss at the time of functions why we have to worry about here. Okay, we will discuss a lot related to the function. So each and every function, we may write saving deposit, withdrawal deposit, or calculate addition operation or something. So I will write the comments, don't worry. Okay, so for example, if it is save operation, then we have to mention, so save related operation in which quarter and who is that particular person written that particular code. We have to maintain each and everything inside that comment. So that particular function, why we are writing, so what is the main purpose, so those things we have to mention inside the comments. Don't worry, I will explain at the time of functions. Any other
Okay.
questions? Don't worry, each and everything I will explain. I have complete notes. Okay, so each and everything I will go set line by line. So any other questions? I will stop 1 minute. So otherwise I will give you break also sometimes. So then I will start. So before that, if you have any questions, you can ask me. And one small thing, do not ask advanced questions, because so some guys, they don't know even anything about JavaScript. So even if you ask, if I try to explain, they feel, so this much of difficulty JavaScript. So they are asking something, but I don't know anything about that one. Sir is explaining something. But if I explain each and everything, na, so that what he asked or what she asked, so that is very easy. But initial time, we can't understand because he learned somewhere else. So that is the reason he or she is asking. If you don't know, don't worry. You can understand once completion of course, you can understand what he asked or what she asked. Don't worry. Okay. Even if anyone asks advanced questions, so reminding guys without knowing any Java script knowledge, right? So don't worry, guys. I will explain each and everything. Okay, but the persons who knows JavaScript, so try to avoid advanced questions. So it would be confusing for the remaining members. Fourth point, HTML. Yeah, sure. I told you, right? So Zaif, inner HTML, separate example would be there. I told you here, I will explain later. Okay, I have explained only these three things. So this fourth point, I already told you, I will explain later. Don't worry, separate example would be there. Yeah, Pratik. So if you are to practice JavaScript ourselves after class as self-study, what should we do? Like any question bank for this practice. So initial time, you have to prepare only W3 schools. I will tell you at the time of advanced after completion of fundamentals. So at the time of functions, initially you have to practice by using a double three schools. So later you have to move so little bit more into Mozilla JavaScript. That is the best practice book for the PDF or something as you wish. So that is the best practice tutorial for the JavaScript, Mozilla JavaScript. Any other? No questions, sir. You can continue. Okay, Mukul. Yeah, do one thing. So you can take 5 minutes break. So because I will get a little bit throat pain. So if I do continuously, so go break 5 to 10 minutes, then come back. Okay. So I will start exactly 5, right? 5:10 I will start. Okay, fine. So now we will discuss about JavaScript types. So before discussing, are you able to see my screen first? Okay,
Yes, sir,
fine.
it is visible.
Okay, cool. Okay, fine. So what are the types of JavaScript? Okay, so we will use inline, internal, and external, similar to the CSS, right? We have learned inline, internal, and external. But here also inline would be there, but we should not use inline JavaScript here. Okay, so mostly we will use internal or external. Yeah, fine. So now, so inline, just we will see, but we should not use inline JavaScript in real time. Okay, not at all useful. But internal, external, but recommended external always. Okay, fine. So how to write inline? For example, if I write some body HTML, leave it out, just listen. So body, general HTML. So leave it about HTML head, all those things. I'm writing directly body. So if I write button, so we know, right, HTML, how to create button. So that button name is some click here or something, or register button something. So here I'm writing one event name. So that is on click. So we will learn more events later. So just remember, if you want to click on button, then we have to do some action, right? So that action we are writing through event that is on click. So after clicking on that, I want to do something else. So that is a predefined method alert. Okay, so here we can call, so hello inline JavaScript something. Okay, so like this, but here if you observe, I'm using here also single quote, here also single quote. If I write like this, then what will happen, you know? So this single code matches, it would be, so it will identify only this particular part. So that's why if you get the situation, so if you want to use quotes multiple times, you have to use, so anywhere double quotes inside the single quotes inside the double quotes as you wish, double quotes. So now it can understand. So this is whole thing is one thing. So this from here to here one more thing. Okay, so just remember that point. Okay, so now this is the way we have to use the JavaScript inline, but so not at all useful in real time. Just ignore this one. Okay, just I have explained. So just write down. So there are mainly, so that's why I have given mainly. So two ways to write. So JavaScript code, JS means JavaScript shortcut. Okay, I will use mostly JS. So JavaScript code into HTML. So one is so internal JavaScript or so embed JS. Both are same, internal JavaScript or embed JS. Second one is so external JavaScript. Okay, so there is no other name for the external JavaScript. For internal, they have given embed.js. Okay, so internal JavaScript code is placed inside the head, we know, or inside the body. So recommended before closing the body section. So code is placed so inside the, okay, so code is placed so in the head and body section of HTML page. So code is as this group, right, stored in separate external file using .js extension. Okay, so first one is internal, how to use it inside the head or body section. Just use the script tag and write the JavaScript code. But external JS, we have to write separate external file similar to the external CSS. So they are .css, here .js is the extension. So now let me write down the example. Okay, so for better practice, so you have to use before closing the body section, but I will use only inside the head section. So head close, so I'm writing title JavaScript program something, body close is there, open is not there, sorry. Oh. Okay, so body we have open, and now I'm trying to write a simple script. So here inside body or otherwise, so you can write inside the head section as you wish, but recommended always before closing body section. But sometimes we may write inside the so head also as you wish. We know the difference, right, where we have to use. Yeah, script tag. So inside the script, we know same story I'm writing now onwards, only console.log. So hello JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript from skillets. Okay, so this is the way I'm trying to print the values. Okay, so this is one of the display possibilities method. Okay, so this is the internal JavaScript you can write here or inside the head section also, no issues. Okay, so now we will learn about external. So don't write this one, so I will ping you. So just copy somewhere and you can paste it. That is just internal JavaScript example. Okay, so I don't want to explain this one, right? Just I have written inside the script tag. So normally, if you want to provide, you can provide. So if you want, okay, let me provide external JavaScript inside the head section as you wish. So how to provide? Script tag, attribute name is src. So here I want to provide the relative path. Generally all the javascript files we have to specify inside the JS folder. I want to write my javascript dot or my script. Why I have used my? So this is our own. So my script dot JS is the extension. So let me create the same file, my script, inside the JS folder. So go to the JS file folder, click on new file, my script.js. Okay, so now what we have to do, I want to write some code related to the JavaScript, and I'm trying to use that thing inside the HTML. So here I'm writing console.log. So most of the members, so they will confuse again in the external JavaScript files. So they want to keep script code again, script tag. Okay, so they will write script tag, but here if you observe, so this is .js extension. So .js means this is completely JavaScript related code. So JavaScript is having tags? No, JavaScript doesn't have any tags, right? So that's why, so that .js is indirectly, so that means we are writing only JavaScript related code. So inside the HTML file, we have to give the permission. Okay, if you want to write any JavaScript code, it's mandatory or not. So in JavaScript, semicolon is optional, whether you have to use it or not as you wish here. So end of this statement of JavaScript. So optional, if you want to use, you can use, or otherwise ignore. If you are a Java.NET guys, you can utilize, use. If you are a Python backend developer, you can ignore, because even Python also so doesn't accept. That is optional in the Python also. Okay, so based on your requirement, you have to write down. If you remove, then we can save the one character of code. Fine. So here I have written external also. So just go to the reveal in file explorer. So click on this one, click on F12. So it comes, oh, what happened? So it's not coming. Script src equal to script.j. Oh, I did not save. This dot is there, right? So actually save all option would be there. For me, it's not working. File, save all. So that is recommended instead of saving single file. So welcome to JS, it is displaying. So external file is working. So internal, we have already seen earlier console.log. So that's why I did not show you. Okay. So external, and moreover, this is recommended in real time. Okay. So earlier one is very rare case, but mostly in real time, we will use external JavaScript. What is the advantage? Okay. So external, same story. So external JavaScript, so is used for entire web application, and so internal JS is used for only particular web page. Okay, so that is the main difference between internal and external JS. Okay, so so we will learn some points what we have discussed till now. Okay, so whenever we have to write the JavaScript code, so internal we have to write script tag, right? So inside the script tag we have to write the JavaScript code. So we can write JavaScript code inside the head section and before closing the body section, but recommended always we have to use the before closing the body section, because while loading the web page, so JavaScript code is not that much important. So once we load the complete page and apply the styles, then JavaScript is required. So that's why we have to write JavaScript code always end of the line. Okay, so that is before closing the body section. So whenever we want to use external JavaScript file, we have to use the .js is the extension. Okay, So some guys, they have asked, sir, can we write type equal to text or JavaScript? I think in the previous type equal to text or CSS. So whenever we have to use HTML5, right, that is by default. So this type attribute is not required. Okay, so directly we can write script tag type equal to text or JavaScript is not required. What is the meaning of dot slash in path? Okay, then you should aware of relative path and absolute. Okay, fine. So now let me explain, move back to the HTML code. So difference between relative path, and I think I have already explained at the time of demo. You did not watch first video. Who is that? Huzaif. Yeah, it is for Roor explained, but he did not listen or what? Huzaif, no, I'm not hitting that one. Okay, fine. Choose to get back in the folder of that directly. Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, if you want, you can see that recording. That would be better. Otherwise, if I explain, so reminding guys, they may feel bored. Sir, why explaining again and again? Yeah, okay, fine. Please watch immediately, then only you can understand. So relative path, generally it will occupy under root context, so that dot slash. So after that onwards, we will write the exactly where it is that file. So the main advantage of relative path, so that may be in our system or in your system, it anywhere. So the same program will execute if you take that entire web application. If you use absolute path, so then it will not work for one system to the other system. And moreover, the same situation will happen network level also. So if you write absolute path, so initially skilledge.com slash some file names you have provided. So later that domain got changed. Skilledge2.com is there, then it doesn't work. So relative path means until the domain, it will take automatically. Okay, so that is nothing but root context. Okay, fine. Okay, so now we will go to the variables. Okay, so what is variable? Why we have to use variables? I think I did not ping this external JS example, right? Mhm. Okay, fine. So now we will go to the JavaScript variables. Guys, if you know the any one of the programming languages, so that may be Java, .NET, PHP, Python, any one of the programming languages, so now onwards it will be very easy. So we will discuss about variables, data types, operators, conditional statements. So these four topics are very, very easy if you know the fundamentals of any programming language. Okay, so we will discuss variables. So what is variable? So variables are used for storing the data into memory location. Okay, so variables are used for store the data into memory location. For example, so var a. So this is var is nothing but variable shortcut. Okay, after that you have to specify the variable name. So after that, so you need to assign the data. Okay, so for example, so var variable name a, or so my name, something variable name as you wish. You can give a, b, c, my name or something. So here data some string value. So this one and this one both are same in JavaScript. Okay, quote, single quote or double quotes. So here we have stored number related data. Here we have stored string related data. So then if you want to write, so is married, this is boolean value. So if you want to provide true, or we can provide the false. So this is number type, this is string related type, so this is boolean type. But did we mention anywhere this is number type, this is a string type, this is a boolean type? No, because so JavaScript is loosely typed or dynamic typed scripting language. So that type will get determined automatically. So at the time of program being executed or processed something. Okay. So once again, so here we did not mention where, for example, age is there. So some 30 years, right? So if you provide, so like this is number, then this is number. If you write some string, that is string, we can understand. But we did not write anything even here. Or if you want to write, you can write int or something string. We did not write anywhere type, right? Just we have written where variable name. But we did not mention any type in JavaScript. So that who will identify that type? This is a number, this is a string, this is a boolean. Who will identify? So JavaScript will identify at the time of program being executed. So based on that variable value. Okay, so that's why. So JavaScript is loosely typed or dynamic typed. This is very, very important. Scripting language, GUAG, scripting language. That means, so you don't need to specify the type of the variable. You don't need to specify the type of the variable. So because type will get determined automatically while the program is being processed, while the program being processed or executed something. So this is the way we have to write. We need not write any type. So this is so loosely typed or dynamic typed scripting language. Okay, so now we will write a few more things. Okay, so JavaScript variables are case sensitive. So not only JavaScript variables, entire JavaScript is case sensitive. Even if you write functions, even if you write classes, methods, anything. So JavaScript is case sensitive, but at present we are discussing about variables. So that's why, so JavaScript variables are case sensitive. What is case sensitive? We know, right? So HTML is not case sensitive. So for example, var a equal to 10 or var my name equal to Suresh. So var my name equal to Ramesh. Okay, so then both the names are different. If you want to display, how to display? By using console.log. So my name, then it will display, so Suresh. If you write small n here, so then it will display Ramesh. So it will identify each character that may be capital or small case. So that's why, so JavaScript variables are case sensitive. While writing any variable name, take care about that variable name. No, I have written my name, whether it is small n or capital, no issues means. So then we will get undefined if it is not available. If it is available, the same name. So for example, if I write my name, but I'm trying to access my name small, so then we will get undefined. I will explain detail what is undefined, null, or so not defined, everything. Don't worry. Just we will get this type of message. Okay, so that's why, so be careful about namings. Okay, so JavaScript variables are case sensitive. It's very important. Okay, and JavaScript variables, so always starts with a letters, sometimes underscore or dollar, but do not start with digits. This is very, very important. Okay, so JavaScript, so variables must starts with so letters. So we can use normally a small case in real-time project is console.use use it for, no, we will use debugging points, but before learning debugging points we have to learn console.log. Okay, fine. Yeah, so JavaScript variables must start with letters. Okay, so letters means you can use small or capital, no issues, but recommended small case. Just listen. So it can be small case or capital case. You can use anything, no issues, but recommended small case starting with. Okay, so and also we can use underscore. Okay, dollar. Okay, so but do not start with digits especially. Okay, so this is very, 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 very important. So now we will learn. So there are two types of variables are available. So one is local variable and second one is the global variable. So till now we have learned variables. So variables store the data into memory location. It can be storing number, string, boolean, function. So I did not discuss about function, array, object, because you will get complicated, you will get confused. So that's why I have given only primitive data types like so number, string, boolean I have discussed. Okay, so we will discuss at the time of data types all the data types. So and we are storing all the data related to the number, string, boolean, function, array, object, regex, all those things. Okay, so variable name should not start with digits. Normally we have to start with small case in real time, sometimes underscore. Okay, so dollar we should not use that one also. Sometimes what's happening, other programming languages like Angular, React, jQuery, so they are also using dollar symbol. So that's why, so try to use only small case and underscores. Okay, so and JavaScript variables are case sensitive. So once we write the name, then we need to take care about that variable names, whether we have to write in small case or capital case. Okay, fine. So finally, so there are two types of variables in JavaScript. So one is local variable. Second one is global variables. Okay, so local variables and global variables, if you want to understand, so then you need to understand about minimum basics of function. So nothing, don't worry, how to create the function and how to call the function. If you know, then only you can understand easily this local variables and global variables. Okay, so now let me write down local variables, global variables. If you want to understand, then we should be aware of functions. How to create function, just listen. Don't worry, I will explain detailed session of functions. We will discuss a lot inside the JavaScript. So this is the main topic. So because JavaScript is functional oriented programming language, right? So that's why we will discuss a lot related to the functions. But here I'm explaining just how to create the function and how to invoke the function, means how to call the function. Create function. So whenever you want to create the function, first we have to use the function keyword. Can we use symbols? Yes, we can use symbols. That is advanced. I think Pratiksha, you should be aware of little bit JavaScript. So we have to use that is advanced one symbols. Okay, so that is one of the data types. Yeah, so here function. Okay, so how to create the function? Function name, open parenthesis, close the parenthesis, open curly brace and close the curly brace. So this is the function syntax, and inside we will write the business logic. Okay, so now I want to write function name as it is and parenthesis. So this is the way we have to create the function. So this is invocation or calling function. Invocation or calling the function. Just this is enough. So later stage we will discuss about function with parameters, function with return statements, so many things. Okay, but at present function without any parameters, just simple function and how to call that function. Okay, now you understand there is a OOP, object oriented concept in JavaScript. There is an yes, we have. So there is an object oriented concept in JS. So you are asking question, is there any OOP? Yes, we have OOPs concept. Okay, so in JavaScript, we have object-oriented programming concepts like inheritance, polymorphism, so encapsulation, all those things are available in JavaScript. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, so now we will go for the local variables and global variables. Okay, we understood, right? How to create the function and how to call the function. So now let me write down local variables and global variables inside here. So just a second now. Let me check with my baby. Yeah. Okay, fine. So now let me write down one thing. So I'm trying to write only internal JavaScript for better understanding. Otherwise, we need to change every time that script code there and here. But recommended, you should write only external JavaScript. So I'm writing two functions. One is a function, B function. Or otherwise, you can write. So this is actually naming conventions. So first function I'm writing same as, first. So while writing any variables or function names, starting with small case and next word first letter should be capital. For example, if I want to write three words, so then first letter should be small and next what is that word first letter, then next word first letter should be capital. So this is the naming convention for the variables and as well as functions also. Okay, so just remember this point. So first function and second function. Okay, so why I'm giving best priority for this one. So while I have given the Capgemini corporate training, so they told me, so they have done very well. So finally one assignment would be there. So they have done very well, that assignment, everything they have, each and everything is clear. But the thing is, they did not follow naming conventions. So they told me directly, so instead of, if they get 100%, you should give only 90%. Because of naming conventions. Okay, so that's why while practicing examples only you can understand. Okay, I will explain at the time of practicing examples. See here, so first function f is small and f is capital here. Okay, so next word, first letter. So I have written two functions. I'm trying to call those two functions. So as you wish, wherever you want to call, you can call those functions. That's it. Okay, so now I'm trying to write. So first I'm writing business logic. So I'm trying to check whether that function is calling or not. For that, you can use console.log or alert as you wish. Console.log. First function is calling. Just simple message for understanding. The same thing I want to provide. Second function is calling. Okay, save, refresh. First function is calling, second function is calling. Some guys, sir, without calling those functions, so will it work? No, it will not work. See? So now what you understand here, so even if you write inside the function 1,000 lines of code, no use is. So whenever we have to invoke, then only it would be useful. Just remember that point. Yeah, so fine. So now what will happen here indirectly? So whenever we want to call this function, first function, then only it will go inside. Okay, yeah, the medicines are coming. Just a second. Yeah. So first function and second function we are calling. So then only it will go inside. Just remember that point. Okay. So fine. So now let's come to the, so here local variables and global variables. So till now we have seen how to create the function and how to call the functions, right? So now remove this one. Just for whether those functions are calling or not, I have verified. For example, I'm providing one variable that is global variable. Okay, so global variable. So that is as you wish, you can give any name. Okay, I'm giving meaningful name. So that is global var means global variable. I'm giving some 10 value. So I'm trying to access that global variable inside the first function and as well as second function. So now it will execute in the both functions and we are able to access this variable here, here, and if you want to write outside of functions also, we can access. Okay, so total, how many times it should display? 3 times, right? So first, which one will execute? Did you remember? So do you know which one will execute? So which console.log, right? So this one will execute or this one or this one. Just print the line number. So 7 or 10 or 12. Line number, 11 line number. So which one will print 7th line or 10th line or 12th line? Okay, so the person's hoping 12th line, that is correct. So because normally the program will execute from top to bottom. Okay, what's happening internally? Let me explain. Okay, so if you come from top to bottom, first it will check this line. So just that variable declaration, something initialize 10 value. So then it will check this function, but it will not go inside this function. So just it will read this function, it will jump and it will come to here. Again, it will read this function, it will jump and it will come here, but it will not go inside. So when it will go inside, whenever we have invoke, then only it will call this function and it will go inside. So, and finally it will come here, it will jump here and it will come outside. It will print this value here, that 10 value will print. After that, first function will call, then come to here, then it will go inside and it will print here. Okay, so then, so after that, this function will call, so it will come to here, then it will go inside and it will print here. Okay, so for better understanding, let me explain through so developer tools. Okay, so someone asked it earlier, right? Sir, so is there any option for console dot instead of that one? Is there any option in real time, right? So we will use breakpoints. Now let me explain. So go to the network, you have seen elements, sorry, not network sources. So you have seen for HTML, CSS elements, for console.log related items in the console. Sources, if you want to click on what are the file we have written, so that files list will display here. Or otherwise, so control P, it will ask the file names. If you type testing.html, only one file is there. For example, another file is there. So something suresh.html or JavaScript CSS, it will give suggestion. Okay, fine. So here testing.html, that code, what are the things we have written, the same code is displaying here. So now I'm trying, oh, what happened? So we have changed it, right? Okay. So here it doesn't refresh. See, now it is refresh latest data. So I want to write it here. So then right here. So then these all are nothing but breakpoints. Okay. So, and finally, can we call that function in body tag? So which one? This one. Yes, we can call. Here also. I already told you, right? So JavaScript code, you can write inside the head section or inside the body section, no issues. Okay, anywhere you can provide. Yeah, so fine. So now come to the here, then come to here, come to here. So now let me refresh, then you can identify from where to where it is going. So first it will read that line. Okay, so now come to the, so here. So this is the resume script execution. So just click on that. See, it doesn't go here and here. Just it will read and it will go here. So again, it will read the function name, it will go. So it will not execute. So then it will come here and it will display that 10 value. Okay, so if you want to observe mouse over on that variable, you will get 10. If you do not have that much confidence, then go for the here, it will display that 10 because I have provided console.log. Okay, so now come to the first function. Now, after this first function, it will go to the here. Just check it out. So it moves to the first function inside. So now if you mouse over on that, so that 10 value would be there. So now it will go to the second function. So again, if you call, then it will go to the inside. So that second function related to global value will be printed. So now what is the order? First 12th, so next 7th, next 10th. That is the order. So it will execute. Okay, so this is nothing but just global variable. How can we access? So means global variable can access so inside any function. So not only outside of that function. So you can, if you write any function, we are able to access the global variable. So wherever you want. Okay, so I have written only internal JavaScript. So internally inside this web page, wherever you want, you can access. If you write the global variable inside the external JavaScript, so then it would be accessible for entire web application. Okay, fine. So this is a global variable. For example, I'm writing inside one function where first function variable. See, F small, capital F and capital V. Okay, remember that one. 20. So now I'm trying to print that local variable also. Console.log first function variable. Okay, save. Okay, now hi Chiranjeevi, Pooja here from operation team. I have another session at 6 p.m. from the same link. Yeah, I will stop within 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, fine. So just 2 minutes. So I will explain local variables tomorrow. Because she needs to prepare something, right? Okay, fine. So now you understand the global variable, right? So we will discuss local variables tomorrow. Then we will discuss about data types, operators, and all those things. Okay. Thank you, guys. So we will meet again tomorrow. So just be prepared so that W3 schools, and so as it is my notes I have given, right? So please practice those notes also. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.